All right. Good evening. Happy Monday, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, and all of you on the Royal We family community. Thank you so much for being here. I know that there is a little bit of a lag time on the Royal We live stream, so I'm going to wait just a couple of minutes so that people can join on and get signed in. And we will go ahead and get started with tonight's live show. I'm excited to be here. Happy Monday and happy New Year. I know it's still the new year, 2020, and it's wild to be able to say that. So happy 2020 to all of you. It's amazing how fast every year seems to be going now. It's unbelievable. And wow, I'll tell you what, there is no time whatsoever to be dilly-dallying around and messing around with narcissistically abusive people, whether that be family or friends or boyfriends or girlfriends or ex-spouses or whatever. We don't have time for that. No more. Hi, Tanya. How are you? Thank you so much for being here. You are the first one that is signing on. Hey, Wendy G. What's going on? How are you? Thank you so much for being here. And like I said, we'll allow some other people to get signed on. The Royal We is brought to you. Happy New Year to you. The Royal is brought to you by the wonderful supporters on Patreon. Thank you so much for your generous support. All of you who are Patreon members, I greatly appreciate that. If you have not already, visit www.jointheroyalwe.com so you can find out information on how to get connected to the Royal We Facebook group. But mostly everybody in this room right here is already on the Royal We Facebook support group. And you know how well that Facebook support group is, how amazing it is. I think I just like doing this. I'm going to do this. It's that's going to be bothersome to a lot of you. Not trying to trigger anybody. But anyways, I'm so happy that you guys are here. So let's go ahead and get started. And tonight I want to make sure that you all would have an opportunity to call. I do put the telephone number up here, by the way. What's up, Donovan? How are you? D-Doll, thank you so much for being here. Brian, good evening. How are you doing? So good to see all of you. D-Doll. What did D-Doll do? Got a reminder that would be at 10, not 9. I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. It's always at 9 now. Yeah, I stopped doing the 10 o'clock last time I was doing the live shows. It's always 9 o'clock p.m. now. Just works out better. Didn't get a notification yet. Yeah, it's BooTube. BooTube, right? They don't notify people what's going on. All right, guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the telephone number is right up above the right-hand side of my head, or over here. And I do encourage you to make that telephone call tonight. Talk about what issues you're going through when it comes to narcissistic abuse. This is the opportunity to get out there, to ask questions, to make that connection, just to vent about something, to talk about a struggle. This is what the Royal We Live is all about. This is what the community is for. And I know you all have your discussions there amongst yourselves and the chat area, and that's fine too. That's what the chat is all about, is to be able to get that support. But you also have an opportunity to call in, share what's going on, and you can call at any time. All right. Don't let the fact that I'm rambling on stop you from calling in to get the support that you need. That's what we're here. We're here for you. This is a live chat. This is a live discussion. This is live help in dealing with narcissistic abuse. If you have questions and you do not want to be live on the phone, you're more than welcome to post your questions in the chat. You could also text me at the same number, the number that's up on the screen behind me, and let me know if my big head gets in the way of that number. But you can also email me, or not email me, but text the question. All right. Sounds pretty good. And I thought that I would start off tonight with an actual question. This is a typical basic question that we get all the time. It comes from dealing with narcissists. And the question says this. It's an email. It says, "Hi, Kevin and Royal Weeze. I have a question. What if the narcissist tries to say that you are the narcissist and tries to use narcissist videos against you. I saw this coming. I think we all did a long time ago. Narcissists will use anything to come at you. They will attack you with any new lingo or language. Listen, I've made videos talking about how narcissists are chameleons. They shapeshift and they can transform into whatever group or gang they're hanging out with. So if they are hanging out with a foul-mouthed biker gang or whatever, and they come across you, they will treat you and talk to you in that manner and demean you and devalue you in that. If they are hanging out with an educated school, higher learning and or psychological based education, if they're on that platform, which narcissists are out there, they will use that to demean you and devalue you by calling you toxic and calling you cluster B and sociopath and psychopath, not because they know at all what they're saying, but because they know that it's a derogatory thing that can be hurtful. That's narcissists' main goal. Their main point is to hurt you, to just reach out and tag you. That's what they want to do. But I'll tell you what, you can always spot out the narcissist. Narcissists always sound the same. They typically use the same language. They typically all cuss at you. It's amazing. I just saw, I just had a comment on one of my videos, and I'm going to share this with you because you are the Royal We family. I'm going to find this comment and be able to point out to you exactly what narcissists do. Real narcissists, what typical narcissists. And this is a narcissist who obviously is watching YouTube channels on narcissistic abuse and is a fan of some of it, of some of the other narcissistic educational channels. Here we go. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. It's right here. I'm going to try and put it on the screen here. And I'm not going to be able to read it until it comes up on the screen. Man, this lag time. Dun, 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 dun. Blue's in the house. Oh my gosh, my heart is beating. Yeah, I miss Blue so much. Happy New Year, Blue. So happy. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm about to see it. This is how bad the lag time is. But look at how narcissists will talk. Okay, here it says, only made it through halfway through this exploitative, DICKHEAD. That's what he called me. Penis head. That's basically what he called me. Knows nothing. Just a blabbermouth, blah, 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 yada, yada, something, talking about narcissistic abuse. It goes on to say, I know it's hard to see, but it goes on to say if you want some real education on narcissistic abuse, then go watch someone else. And he put who to watch. Lisa Romano. Now, I have no problems with Lisa Romano. I think she's fantastic. I've seen a lot of her videos. But my point is this individual who is trying to pose as somebody healing from narcissistic abuse. Wow. I'm looking at myself with the blank phone up on the screen. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. But anyways, this individual who is posing as somebody healing from narcissistic abuse is coming on to narcissistically abusive channels, people who are educating and teaching and have a heart for helping people heal, going on channels and saying, and cussing them out. You're a DICK head and you know nothing about narcissists. Watch a real channel like Lisa Romano. I mean, if it doesn't get any more narcissistic than that. So this is the typical attack style of narcissists. They will come at you with the intent to just put you down. They will just nail you. Boom. And when I started the Royal We channel, there was an awful lot of that. Yes, bad word. Bad word. Oh, thank you, Tanya. Penis cranial. Yeah. Screen went dark. I know, I saw that. Tanya, it was hard to read anyways. Yeah, I know. Screen's black. I know. Listen, I know. I'm like, as I'm talking, the lag time is like 3 minutes behind here. But a narcissist, yes. At any rate, that is what narcissists do. When I started the Royal We channel, it was a lot worse. It was, I was getting people coming on the channel. I have no idea why they're even there. If they're there to watch a video on how to heal from narcissistic abuse, then that's what the videos are for, right? That's what they're for. But to sit there, watch a video, and go, "Who is this ugly guy? Blah 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 blah, mother effer, blah blah blah, doesn't know anything." What are you doing? I don't get it. But that's narcissistic, by the way. We got a call from somewhere. You're live on the Royal We. How are you?
Hello. This is Antonio Silva from Pennsylvania.
Antonio, how are you doing, my brother? It's good to hear from you.
I appreciate it. Good to see it all as well as can be for you. And I was glad to see that you were able to head back to the location of your torment and able to come back with that in a blessed way. So
yes.
I was glad to see that.
Yes.
Yeah, I could be doing better. For one, I'm no longer present on YouTube. I did leave some messages, yet I had to remove myself because of
I'm sorry. You had to remove yourself because of what? You're cutting out there a bit. You removed yourself from YouTube because. Uh-oh. Houston, come in, Houston. We're having issues.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. This isn't sounding good.
Can I try calling back?
Yes, please. Okay. All right. So Antonio's going to try and call back. Sorry about that. Sometimes that happens. These callers are from long distance. We get callers from all over the world. Literally, we have had calls from Israel in the past. And so that happens from time to time. And while Antonio is trying to call back, we will go ahead and take another question, because I did see a question come in here via text. And it says this. I don't know if it's a question or not, but we're going to read it together. It says, "Hi, Kevin. My name is Amy Smith from California. 2, been in Kansas City for 3 years now. I was dating a man for the past 3 years, and he died on my birthday a few months ago. I'm sorry to hear about that, of a brain tumor. Could have thought the whole time he was a narcissist when really he had brain cancer and never told me. It's so hurtful." Wow. That is a rough situation. And here's the deal when it comes to narcissistic abuse, okay? They do know that, and this has been scientifically studied, when it comes to the brain and brain development, they do know that there is a significant tie between psychopathic, sociopathic behavior, and you could probably throw narcissism in there, okay? There's a direct tie with the development or issues with the prefrontal cortex of the brain. Prefrontal cortex has everything to do with your ability to rationalize and reason. Your cognitive ability exists there. And so tumors can affect this greatly. And a lack of development can affect this. I was reading an article not long ago that was talking about how young individuals, teens, if they are smoking marijuana or heavily drinking before the age of 16, 15, 12, and I know that it's younger and younger that they're getting into these drugs and marijuana and all this stuff right now. But they say that the prefrontal cortex does not even fully develop until your mid to late 20s. And so for those who are dabbling in drugs, marijuana, alcohol in their early teen years, they are absolutely affecting the development of the prefrontal cortex of the brain, which doesn't fully develop until it's 25 to mid 20s or later. This absolutely does promote narcissism, psychopathic behavior, antisocial behavior. And no, antisocial does not mean people who are shy. All right. When we talk about antisocial behavior, for those of you who don't know, antisocial behavior is behavior that people do where they conduct themselves in a way that is not socially normal. Okay. So, for example, throwing rocks at cars going by. That's not socially acceptable. That is antisocial behavior. Antisocial behavior gets into a very dangerous place with people. It can cause a lot of hurt. Okay. And to them, it's funny. I was at a party once where there was a bunch of kids under a gazebo, and some of the people that were there thought it would be funny to hit golf balls up they were up on a hill. They were part of the party, and they were hitting the golf balls and hitting them in near the direction of where the kids were. One of them came flying over, bounced up, and hit one of our guests at the party. And obviously they were very sorry, but you have to think for a minute. What are they doing hitting golf balls near a party full of kids? This is antisocial behavior. They think it's funny. They think it's a good time. They think it's all fun and games. And if somebody gets hurt, oh, they're so sorry. But it's just, that's part of their whole demeanor. We're cool. It's what we do. All right. And at any rate, so yes, drugs and all that stuff does do that. I'm going to read some of your comments. Oh my, I was drinking and smoking at 12. Purple butterfly. That doesn't mean everybody is affected in that same way. And to what extent you were drinking and smoking when you were younger, how often, was it daily? Was it once a month? I think most of us experienced our first whatever at a high school party, right? At some point. So I think it has more to do with an upbringing atmosphere to where you're surrounded by it daily. But who knows, right? I'm not sure. I was just reading the article that's a potential. That's something that they've studied, is that there seems to be a link between antisocial behavior, sociopaths, psychopaths, and being around drugs and certain chemicals and whatever too young of an age, before the prefrontal cortex of the brain had an opportunity to fully develop. And with that, hey, by the way, everybody, the telephone number is up there, and love to hear from you. And it looks like there's Antonio calling back. Antonio.
Hello, is the connection better?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay, that's troubleshooting 101. Turn off the phone and turn off the cell phone and put it back on and see if it works.
That's a great way to go about that.
Well, especially for someone who's not well versed in technology, if that didn't work, I didn't know what was going to happen.
Right. So how are you? What's going on?
As I was beginning to say, I'm no longer on. I had an active page on YouTube, and I did leave some comments on some of your videos posted, just to give you the rundown, because the one I became involved with, I've mentioned to you before. By the way, I made the error, which, again, we are all fallible and we'll make errors. It's just a matter of finally getting it through our thick skull sometimes,
right,
of reconnecting with her. Because, again, you were speaking about a little bit before about how they'll come at any angle, ends justify the means sort of things, just to either demean you or to trick you, just so they can get what they're looking for. Well, she convinced me, and wrongly so, that I was not what I had taken the charge for, becoming an adulterer. She took the time to do so with me after intruding in my life before, by coming here to where I live and dropping off items where she could have easily mailed it like I mailed her items. So always trying to find an in. that she took time with me because I made the error of confronting her, talking to her. She took the time to try to convince me that I wasn't that. So, and I took the bait, and it wasn't but a month later that it just happened again. It was I've learned to be around them. If you disconnect and reconnect, the cycle becomes much more faster. Like in terms of being pleasant and then going 180, and then they just want to punish you and just punish you. So I just had that recently occur, and that she was actually on some of your videos, trying to twist the narrative as if I were the problem or I broke promises. I'm like, well, I can't keep promises to those who don't hold up their end of the bargain. And so, and such, so yeah, I hearing you talk about some of the things you were talking about there, I'm right now, I'm basically, we use words and we don't really recognize the words we use and how much they have meaning right now. Right. I'm in the midst of a withdrawal because I became, I've looked into some of the subjects. It's like there are people, the common thread is you become addicted to this without recognizing it's almost like a drug.
It can be.
So now I'm in rehab. I'm trying to rehab myself. I am in withdrawal. I've withdrawn myself from her, and I am fortified every means of where she can't get a hold of me, even to the point that I had to remove myself from YouTube because she came through there. So it's just, I'm in rehab. I'm rehabbing myself. Yeah. I'm trying to start the process of rebuilding, and I'm in withdrawal, and it's been just, facing a lot of hard truths. And also, simultaneously, I have a family member who's gone through a tumultuous time that right now they're exhibiting a lot of the same patterns. A close family member, immediate family, same patterns. And their scenario is a bit different. They're out of state right now because they were just so in peril that they needed to go to somewhere to get, for refuge. Yet I'm seeing it and I'm like, I've had to remove myself from one, and now another may be on the verge of that or may have crossed that line where they don't come back and they just are far gone. So life has been tumultuous. Again, everyone has the trials. Everyone has the tribulations. I'm not sitting there disregarding that whatsoever. I'm just between my own personal battles with trying to recover from back injury and surgery, and then encountering who I encountered, and then having this. It's coming at me in all fronts right now. I'm just doing all I can to maintain and just continue on and fight the good fight. So that's a summary of what's been going on. There's a lot that could be unfolded or out of respect to your time, I don't want to, be too, and others as well, I don't want to be too prolonged. So that's pretty much what's going down right now.
Well, you know what? Sometimes the best thing to do is just to be able to have an ear to listen, and for you to be able to share what's going on and be able to openly acknowledge and admit that you've fallen back into the same cycle with the same person, which can happen to any one of us. All right? It really can. Listen, I'm going to tell you all right now, when I went back to California and was hanging out with certain people who destroyed me, I was met with that charm, and I was met with that nothing's wrong, nothing was ever wrong attitude that some people can put that front up. Narcissists are excellent at that. And it was a good visit because it's been 3 years and no contact. It was a great visit, and they seemed interested in me. They were asking questions, and I left with that inkling, that small voice saying, reconnect with them. Become friends with them again. Start to talk to them more. They're changing. They're changing. Right. And I had to stop, and I had my support system that said, no, don't go there. Right. It was a visit. There was no fights. There was no name calling, no cussing. Leave it at that.
Amen.
Leave it at that. And if you don't see him for another 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, praise God. Amen. when you do see him, it will be a peaceful encounter again because you're not getting involved, right? That's the danger we all fall into, is getting back involved, getting sucked into the trap of the charm or whatever draws you into that relationship. So to acknowledge that, and then once you're in it, you're caught in a cycle of not only the fun of that the good stuff of that relationship, but you're also caught up in the bad stuff, and you're caught up in the shame and the guilt, and you're stuck because of that again as well, and you're trying to make it right, and in order to make it right, you feel like you can't leave, and so you're stuck. And so what you're doing is perfect. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're calling in. I'm glad you're talking about this, okay? So good for you.
I appreciate that. You made me think of one thing. I apologize. You made me think of one thing when you were saying that. First of all, I do have a good support. I mean, obviously, the Royal We has been there for me. You were there, and I appreciate that. I do have a good support in terms of my immediate family and some extended family and friends. They were there for me too. I appreciate that. However, I had to again learn this the hard way, and I've taken all the measures now. Basically, I am secluded. Okay, I am in solitude, and again, the only way that would ever really save for, again, I'm not doing anything to break no contact. The only thing that would ever happen would be if the path of least resistance she would take is to actually intrude personally in my life by coming up to her because she knows where I live.
You're doing the right thing.
Other than that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Right on.
The other thing about it was, again, for your sake too, as you were saying, is like, get out while the getting's good. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Don't sit there and, and that's what it came down to me. I basically, once I recognized it, it's like, no more of the fog, the days and confusion. Once the last recent time was in the last month and a half, once it happened, I was like, okay, that's it. Okay. I can look in the mirror with confidence, knowing that I gave earnest effort to try to make this work, even though I for certainty know I should have never been involved with her doing the things I was doing, going to places I was going. I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
Now more than ever. Yet I know I gave earnest effort. Yet if there's two involved, there has to be two to tango, and I was doing a lot of the dancing myself.
Right on. All right.
And then being blamed because somehow I was stepping on her feet, even though she wasn't moving with me.
Yeah, I hear you.
So,
all right, Antonio. Well, listen.
Huh?
Listen. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm like I said, I'm glad you called. I want to get to some of these other questions. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I want to get to some of these other questions, but thank you so much. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much. You be blessed, in the Royal We family and the Mod Squad as well. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Yes, absolutely. Shout out to the Mod Squad and D-Doll, Blue, Taylor, Tanya, and Nora. Nora, if you're here, I consider you the Mod Squad as well. And thank you all for being here so much. Appreciate you and everything that you do, including reminding me of the questions. I'm going to answer a question from Donovan Brooks. Hey, Kevin, how does one deal with the hurt of going no contact with all of your family members because of one toxic person, the mother who has successfully turned everyone into flying monkeys? Yes. So here is the deal, and this is something that I struggled with as well. This is exactly what I faced dealing with a family who, because of one or two highly toxic, conniving, jealous, trouble, drama-starting, narcissistic individuals who need to clamor for attention, it spread. I was getting attacked by these certain individuals, but at the same time, simultaneously, they were telling other people in the family that I was the problem because I was confronting them saying, can we please not cuss? Can we please not call each other names? And they turned everybody into their flying monkeys. They turned everybody into this is what narcissists do. They build a team of people against you. I don't know exactly how they do it, to be honest with you. It blows my mind that narcissists are able to turn entire families against others. And this is something that devastated me. And I'm going to answer your question in just a minute, but it devastated me to have to go no contact with an entire family. It devastated me that people in the family who I met and who I got along with and who I felt knew me as an individual, it devastated me to know that they can change instantly because of the dramatic rumors and the slander and the victim playing of certain narcissists. Once I saw that's what's capable, that's what's happened, and that's a potential, that's a possibility, it changed my mind about how relationships like that work, and ultimately it told me that those people who I thought liked me or knew me or cared about me really never did. Okay? And this becomes the sad, unfortunate answer that I'm going to give you. All right? When you're talking about family members or people who have been swayed by a narcissistic, toxic mother, right? What it's saying, and they know you, right? If they loved you and cared about you, they would not listen to the mother whatsoever. They'd be reaching out for you. They'd be trying to talk to you. They'd be holding toxic mom at bay, right? This is what I was longing for in that family dynamic. I was waiting and longing for somebody else in the family, somebody who I thought knew me, somebody who I thought cared for me, to stand up and say, whoa, everybody stop. Stop calling Kevin names. Stop cussing at him. Stop doing everybody stop. Be at peace. But it never happened. Instead, it was, with a narcissist, you can do whatever you want. There seems to be this mentality in today's culture. The angriest person can do whatever they want to do. Say whatever you want to say because you're angry, because you're a narcissist. Speak your pain out, even if it's demeaning other people, and that's okay. But anybody who tries to stop you, it's like they can't handle that. And it gets into collective narcissism. And one of the best ways that I can help you understand this also is that typically families, especially if there's narcissists involved, have a hierarchy. It's a hierarchy structure. And there's typically levels of the hierarchy. The ones who climb the highest in this hierarchy are the ones who play that narcissistic family game. And if the game in that family is a game of secrets, name-calling, challenging, fighting, and you're not one to play those games, I know, and that's fine, because I'm not. I don't play those games. I mean, I'm straight up. And be straight up with me. I don't lie about people. I don't appreciate being lied about. But if you're in a family that's okay with that, and you're the one that's not, but everybody else is, then you will be the one that is manipulated, gaslit, the black sheep, on and on, until you just go. And so your question is, how does one deal with the hurt of going no contact? It is painful. You have to simply understand that family is not necessarily where you were born. Family is not necessarily what your blood ties are. Family can be anybody who accepts you. Listen, there are people out there. There are kids who are raised by adopted parents who adopt children, right? Who are those children's family? Is it the biological parents? No, it's the adopted family. All right. You at some point in life will be adopted into a new family, perhaps your own. You get married, you have your own kids. This is now your new family. All right. And you detach and you separate from the family that you grew up with, the so-called blood, right? And I typically also lean on the Bible in these situations, and this helped me greatly because the words of Jesus are strong and profound in this area. Well, first of all, the Bible has all kinds of scriptures saying, therefore, leave your mother and father and all your siblings, all right? Listen, none of Jesus's disciples were his literal blood brothers, and he did have them, okay? In the story, Mary and Joseph had other children. But guess what? None of them were disciples of Jesus. What does that tell you? All right. Jesus had a whole other group of people who he called brothers and sisters. There's one very profound scripture where somebody was running to Jesus saying, hey, your mother and your brothers, they want to talk to you. Jesus's response was, who are my mother? Who are my brothers? And then he pointed to his disciples and he said, there is my mother, my brothers, my sister. Okay. Whoever does the will of my Father is my family. This is a very profound thing. And this is something a lot of Christians miss. This isn't really taught. Jesus was basically saying, don't put so much don't put so much weight on the family of your upbringing. They were in your life for responsibility to raise you, to guide you, to lead you. Hopefully they did a good job. If they didn't, you can go out and do a good job on your own anyway. But their responsibility is over. It's cut. It's over. You're no longer attached. You don't have to be attached. This should help deal with the pain, but it's a transition. It's a different way of understanding. You're going against culture. You're going against all kinds of belief systems when you do this. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself, who's going to live your life and who's going to support you and who's going to pay your bills? Is it going to be your family or is it going to be you? And it's something you have to do on your own. So anyway, I hope that helps you with that question. I'm going to scroll through some more here. See if I can find more. How does one deal with the hurt? Okay, Blue reposted that. By the way, the telephone line is open. You're welcome to contact. If any of you have any questions, you don't mind talking about it, go ahead and call us in and we'll talk. We will talk. My parents-in-laws were the healthy, loving parents I always yearned for. I discovered healthier family outside mine. It's typical. Andrea Parker, I was a scapegoat. Andrea. Any other questions on here that I missed? I know I saw some. I want to scroll back and read it. Question from Brian Torrance. Kevin, can you talk about when the narc is one's own child? Oh, Brian, this is a tough one, and it depends on the age. All right, I would say, and again, this goes, Brian, right into what I was just talking about, what the Bible has to say. I lean on the Bible, I hope, if that's okay, and the Bible basically lays out that at a certain time, children, sons, daughters, will leave the mother and father. They need to, right? And they become their own family. And it severs that tie. That tie was responsibility, all right? Once they're of age, you're no longer responsible. And there's really no, I mean, you can have if you have a good relationship, that's great. However, if it's not a healthy relationship, then it doesn't need to be that type of relationship. All right. Somebody once asked me and called and said, Kevin, what if it's your children? What if your son left you and never came back? And I thought about it for a minute and I said, well, I'd be sad. I'd miss them. I'd miss them dearly. But I would hope that I did the best job that I could in the time I was given to raise and guide them. And if I never see them again, then I hope they're blessed, living a fruitful life, being blessed, doing great things. All right. Because the reality is they don't belong to me. Here, listen, here, children don't belong to you. They don't belong to, they're given to you on loan. Have you heard that? You're loaned to them. You're given children on loan to teach, to raise, to guide. But then they're their own free will, their own spirit. Man, how are you going to harness that? You can't harness that. What are you going to do? Tie them up? No, you can't. You can't harness any other individual, even children. And again, part of this culture and stuff is, well, you grow up, your family, you stay together, you live next door to each other, you live in the same city, live in the same neighborhoods, and the family stays together. And you can. There's a lot of families that do that, but that's not how it's always been, right? And it's not the only way. There's a lot of families. As a matter of fact, my grandparents came to California to move out of wherever Timbuktu they came from. I think Indianapolis or wherever, right? They left mom and dad. It was very common for my grandparents, some of your grandparents, to up and to leave their parents and leave the farm back in the 40s and 50s and move somewhere else. That's why we're here. Some of your parents left their mom and dad in France, England, Ireland, Haiti, wherever. Up and gone, right? No questions asked. And they didn't have cell phones and email and Facebook to get in touch with each other every single moment of the day, share pictures. Man, if they were really, really fortunate, they wrote a letter once a year to their parents after they left. You understand me? Times have changed so much now. We feel so glued to our children. We feel glued to our parents, like we're hanging on for dear life. That's not at all what life is about. It's not. It's not. I hope that helps you out with that. Any other questions? Shelly, give me a call. Phone line's open. You all are welcome to call. We're going to go for another 15 minutes here. And I'd love to hear some other questions that you might have before we wrap this up. Thank you so much for being here live on the Royal We tonight. Let's see. I'm scrolling for some more questions here while we're waiting for a telephone call. All right. People know the narc is wrong. Well, here we go. From Madison. You're live on the Royal We. Hello.
Hello?
Hi, you're live on
Hello,
the Royal We.
Hi, Kevin.
Shelly.
I'm calling.
Oh, no, you're not Shelly. You sound like Shelly for a minute. How are you?
Oh, no, that's okay. I had a question,
Yes.
and I've been pondering this for a couple of months concerning, do we owe our narcissists or toxic family members or a toxic person anything? And I went through some of your videos. One states that we do not owe them anything, like as in a closure, because our closure is going no contact. And that's what we really just need to give to ourselves. And then in another one, you said that we still don't know a toxic person anything unless, of course, you owe them money. I have a situation where my narcissistic mother had gotten herself into a financial bind. I had to bail her out, take on her building, her business. It was like $111,000. Then she stuck me with a $781 electric bill. And then come to find out that she opened up a credit card in my name, unbeknownst to me, although I did get her to pay off that credit card. And then when my now ex-husband, narcissistic ex-husband is what I call him, had discarded me or had left, I had to borrow $2,500 from my mother for an attorney. And she's guilt-tripping me because, of course, I don't have it at the time. And this began a couple of years ago. And I'm sitting here thinking, I mean, she still owes me all this money. It's kind of like that the devil is playing in my head. She owes me this money. Do I really need to pay her? I mean, I'll pay her back that little at a time as I can. But I feel somewhat resentful about having to do so when she owes me money. Does that make sense?
Well, what exactly does she owe you for again?
Well, the building, because they had to foreclose on it. She was not making her payments on it. I just put it in my name. She had to file bankruptcy. And her business was never, in hindsight, worth anything. Or was ever really doing any good. So basically, the leftover from, because the building went into foreclosure, so they sold it. So $35,000 from the building that I had signed to put it in my name because she filed bankruptcy. And then the $781 electric bill that she had stuck me with. She told the electric company, well, it's the owner's responsibility, not hers.
Okay, so wait. I'm just trying to follow. I'm trying to follow along. So the building was foreclosed, so you had to sell it, but the building belonged to your mother, right?
No, I own the building with the bank. It originally was hers, and then she got into financial binds, so
Right.
I put the building in my name with the bank.
Okay.
She was not making the monthly payments
Were you
on
making
that note to the bank.
So were you making the monthly payments?
No, I wasn't. I couldn't.
Okay.
I lived 3 hours away at the time, and she assured me that she would be making the monthly payments.
So how
but she didn't, and so the building was short sold.
Okay, so
And
short
so
sold.
I had and so I had to pay off a little more than $65,000 on it. She couldn't, wouldn't, whatever the reason would be.
Okay. So you paid it. So you had to pay for something with that building, basically, a lot of money with that, right?
Right.
Okay. Have you talked to her about
And then
that?
she helped me with. I'm sorry.
Have you talked to her about that building, about the money that went into that? Because if it seems to me that if that building belonged to both her and you in some way, and you had to pay it off or whatever, that maybe you could reach an understanding or a compromise there. Have you tried that?
I did. And she just kind of like denies it, and she deflects and turns conversation off onto something else.
You know, and I mean, here's the thing. It's yes, you can be resentful. I get it. It sounds to me just basically that it was just bad decisions in general. You know, taking over that building and stuff. You should have probably just let that go on its own because of your mom's default, right? Never get involved in trying to save your parents' jobs or buildings or whatever. It makes no sense. But in all honesty, I would say this: if your mother handed you cash to take care of something, and you said you would pay it back, I would do it. Pay it back, not resentfully. Pay it back cheerfully, but as you can.
Right.
As you can. And don't feel resentful for it. Know that you're doing it not because she deserves it, but you're doing it because you're upholding who you are. You're paying it back because this is who you are. You're holding on to your word. Doesn't matter if your mom never held on to her word or whatever. This is the kind, and I understand that. But we need to focus on being the best people that we can be, right?
Right. See, now that was the battle inside my head when I had mentioned that it's like the devil is playing in my head, or it's got a grip on me, telling me that, well, no, you don't have to, because she, I did let it go years ago, but I'm thinking, you know what, that's not what God wants me to do. That's not what Christ wants me to do. He still wants me to be the good person, know in my heart that I did the right thing as he instructs me to.
Right. Yeah.
So pay her back, like I said, that little bit at a time that I
can,
and just feel good about it.
That's it. Know that you're doing the right thing.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's kind of like that. You get caught up in this situation, and it's like you can't think clearly.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Telephone line is back open again, and I'll also scroll through the questions here. I saw Blue shouting at me to talk about Grey Rock. Grey Rock, I'll tell you what, Grey Rock is, this is going to be real short for me because I do not, I was going to say I don't promote Grey Rock, all right? And I still don't. And here's why. Grey Rock is a way in which you're not being yourself, all right? It's lying. Oh, why even be there if you have to Grey Rock, right? But at the same time, based on my trip to California, I can say this. I was back in a situation with people who there were a lot of intense animosity, narcissistic abuse, all that type of stuff, name-calling, verbal stuff. It was crazy, right? I didn't want to deal with any of that. So I can say this. I didn't mindfully practice Grey Rock or any kind of a technique when I was there. But what I did do is tone down myself. And what do I mean by that? Well, I'm usually an outgoing person who has no problem sharing my life with people, joking around with people, and this and that. But instead, when I'm around these certain people, I toned that down. All right? Because I understand that in certain situations, you have to be careful. Sometimes you have to read certain environments, certain situations, and not just go ahead and blabber and put stuff out there, right? And I learned that about these individuals. It's not the place or the time to do that. So I did tone down. I wasn't mindfully going Grey Rock. Grey Rock means you act like a lifeless rock. No, I was still myself. But I wasn't communicating in the way in which I communicate with you right now. You know, where we talk, we love on each other, where we communicate openly and honestly. And listen, I'm also okay with compartmentalizing relationships. One of the things that I talk to people when I deal with you one-on-one, which, by the way, if you would like one-on-one sessions, you can set an appointment through www.jointheroyalwe.com, and you can set up a one-on-one appointment there. But one of the things that I help people understand is that it's okay to compartmentalize your relationships, right? It's okay to do that. By compartmentalize relationships, I mean you don't necessarily want to chase down all your best close friends and tell them about the narcissistic abuse you're experiencing and how miserable it's making you, right? You're going to start to chase off your friends. Go back and watch my cup video, right, with the liquid, where it's dirty and you're pouring it from cup to cup, all right? Your friends are going to start to get some of that nasty stuff in them, and they're not going to want to be around you anymore, and they're going to leave, right? Why is this? Well, because your friends, they know you as one certain type of person. And that's the you that they need in their life, and that's what they're looking for in that relationship with you. Your parents are in this type of relationship, your children in this type of relationship, your coworkers in this type of relationship. It's okay to keep them compartmentalized. And then here, the royal we're all together talking about how we overcome and heal from toxic individuals who are out in the world, toxic relationships, and that's what this relationship is about, right? And that's okay. So you can come here and you can leave that gunky stuff here because we know how to deal with it, right? And talk it out and work it out. And then you can go back to your friends and you can have your Thursday night fun night with your friends, right? Where you don't talk about the narcissist. Okay? That's compartmentalizing your relationships, and that's okay. All right? There's nothing wrong with that. And at any rate, yeah, I went way off of topic, not way off topic, but it makes sense. As far as gray rocking goes, no need to gray rock. You can tone yourself down a bit. You can stop yourself from, I like to call it getting naked too fast, right? A lot of empaths, a lot of people who, when I say empaths, a lot of people who are, who enjoy life, like to have fun, like to talk, like to, you wear your heart on your sleeve, like to talk about emotions, like to talk about feelings, how you doing, this and that. We're usually I call it getting naked real fast, because you do. You just go out there and you don't have boundaries up, right? Which is not necessarily a good thing. We need to learn how to put boundaries up, protect ourselves, because you run out there, you get naked super fast in front of people, emotionally, verbally, all of a sudden you're giving everybody an arsenal to attack you. You know what I mean? You're a sitting duck because you're vulnerable and naked because you just ran out there and did that. So one of the things we need to do is learn how to draw in, tone that down, be mindful of who we're with, where we're at, who we know, who we don't know, the narcissists in the room, the family members that are toxic, and use our best judgment and best discernment to talk. And I did that when we were in California. I didn't play gray rock games or anything like that. I just simply acknowledged where I was. I was in a atmosphere with people who I didn't really get along, who I don't know as well as I thought I knew, who don't know me as well as I thought they knew me, who don't mind getting, hostile, aggressive, and who, I didn't want to share any of my personal stuff. I didn't talk about the royal we over there. I had no need to, right? It's not a part of that life and that connection with those people. This is for you and me. Hope that makes sense to you all. Can we discuss shame that, Tanya asks, can we discuss shame that survivors feel after leaving the abuser? Yeah, the shame is real. I've made a video of the guilt and shame. The guilt and shame is part of the real hurt. Right? The hurt coming out of narcissistic abuse isn't necessarily just because of the abuse you endured. It's the shame and the guilt of knowing what was happening, knowing that you were giving yourself over and over and over again, defiling yourself in a lot of ways to an abusive relationship where you were being used and criticized and ridiculed. And you wanted to get out of it, but you just quite couldn't do it in time. And by the time you do get out, so much pain has been inflicted on you. So much torture and so much torment that you're filled with shame and guilt of not recognizing it sooner, of thinking that it was going to change. It's and a lot of us also have people who tell us, stay out of it, stay out of the relationship, get away, but we don't listen. I've got this. I can fix this. I can make it work, right? Because we're fixers by nature. We like to fix things. We're problem solvers. We are. But when it comes to people and their minds and their spirits and their will, you can't fix that. You're not qualified. I'm not qualified, right? I made an analogy in one of my videos where I said, if you dropped your iPhone and it's shattered, are you qualified to put it back together? No, neither am I. There are people who might be qualified to put it back together, but it's not me, it's not you, right? And we're talking about human beings, narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, and whatever in their life got them to that point. That's years and years and decades and millenniums, I guess, of stuff that built into that. There's no way, and they are broken people. There's no way you're qualified to understand or even fathom the wiring of what's going on in their mind and what they're capable of doing and why they're capable of doing it. All right. Yet we sit there and I've got this, I can do this, especially empaths. We're really guilty on that. I feel guilt about that too. We stay there. I can fix this. I can do this. I can help. I'm a good Christian. I can help. No. Okay. Hope that makes sense. But that's a big part of the guilt and the shame. It's guilt and shame that really causes a lot of hurt. When you get over the guilt and the shame of leaving the situation, when you realize that you're responsible for your own life, you're responsible for your future, you're not responsible for the narcissist. When you realize this, you can move on and not feel guilty or ashamed anymore, right? Thank you, beautiful hummingbird. Gray Rock sucks. Yes. Hello from Colorado. Hello, Jody. It's good to see you. Try it again. You nailed it on the shame topic. I tried so hard to help him. We all do. I was same here. I was there trying to help and heal and love all over these people who were hating me. And it only made it worse. And I couldn't figure it out. The more I tried, the more guilt and the more ashamed I was of myself. Right? Seeing a counselor is needed. And she's an expert on narcissistic personality behavior. I showed her Kevin's YouTubes, and she says they're good. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate that. I'm a big fan of people going out, getting the counseling that you need to get. I often recommend Celebrate Recovery, but any type of therapy you can get is going to help you out because it's going to allow you to open up and talk about these things. Still listening, and yes, you pray it will change. Yes. That's awesome, Mary. Gray Rock. I just talked about Gray Rock. Do I need to talk about it again? Gray Rock. Don't do it. I don't Gray Rock. Guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not do Gray Rock. I say tone it down based on your environment. Tone down what you talk about. Don't get so naked so fast. Just tone it down. But there's no reason to act like a Gray Rock or anything like that. All right. With that being said, I want to thank you all. Our hour goes by so fast, my friends, and I'm so glad that you have been here with me tonight on this Monday night. Thank you so much. Be looking this week for a brand new video on the Royal We, the organic Royal We channel. Video is going to be on, what is the video on? I'm having a mind. I'm losing my mind here because it's late at night. Blue, I'm so glad you're here, Blue. I miss you so much. I'm so glad that you're here. And the video that's going to be uploaded this week on the organic channel is going to be on trust, on what broken trust means and how you move forward in your life without having that that solid trust. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? You're going to find out with the video that I'm going to be posting on the organic channel. I'm excited for you to see that. I do have recent examples of where I had to make decisions and trust was not a part of it. And so I'm excited to get that out there. So be looking for that video. It's going to be up this week on the Royal We channel. And be here. Yes, we will talk soon, Blue. We will talk soon and catch up. Be here also next Monday night, live on the Royal We, 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Visit www.jointheroyalwe.com. Get connected in the Royal We support group on Facebook. And also follow the Royal We, join the Royal We on Instagram. And if you're interested in a one-on-one session, you can book that through www.jointheroyalwe.com. You're welcome to donate through PayPal if you'd like to donate on the Royal We channel. Also, thank you for your Patreon members. Those of you who are still hanging on there to Patreon, you are still helping this stay afloat. Thank you so much. And we'll be back next week right here on the Royal We Live. Good night, everybody.